Welcome to the While You Were Working podcast, presented by Rogue Marketing. When you're responsible for revenue, it's hard to look up from the work, but while you're doing your day job, the market shifts. While You Were Working is where we turn today's trends into tomorrow's strategies. Welcome to While You Were Working.
Welcome to While You Were Working, the podcast for revenue accountable business leaders wanting to stay ahead of the curve. I'm Chip Rosales, managing partner of Rogue Marketing. Rogue is a strategic marketing agency that helps clients defend their marketing spend. We're business builders who carry a marketing toolbox, and I'm so glad you're joining us. You know, it's hard to keep up with trends and insights shaping business when you're busy driving growth. That's why we regularly sit down with revenue accountable leaders, unpacking their experience and sharing actionable insights. The world moves fast while you're working, and today's guest is at the forefront of growing revenue in an extremely targeted and highly competitive space, automobile advertising. I'm joined today by Chris Petrawski. He's the president of Bedford Advertising, and he oversees the revenue growth for an agency that helps automotive dealers and groups increase their marketing share one relationship at a time. You're a great leader for us to speak with today because even though we do some similar things from an agency perspective, you do it in an industry that I really don't have a lot of experience or work in. I don't have a lot of clients there. And one of the things that's really cool about what you do is that you're able to see results a lot faster. And so I want to talk about that. You know what's working and what's not. And so maybe just to jump in right from there, what's working, Chris?
Yeah, that's a great start. What's really unique about the automotive industry, especially what we do is in tier 3 automotive, so that's your local automotive dealerships, is that most of them already have a brand, right? Ford, Toyota, Lexus, Mercedes. They all kind of had a brand value and a brand statement that's already established. What we need to do is sell cars, help them sell cars pretty immediately. It's a highly stressful position in terms of sales because you have really aggressive sales targets. So our advertising really has to be really low funnel focused and really driving results that matter, what we call meaningful results. And then what's also important to us is to not use that as an excuse to sacrifice long-term like brand building for those dealerships. So the challenge is on us to kind of make some quick adjustments and quick decisions on creative and targeting to ensure that both are achieved, right? To ensure that short-term sales achievement, that lead number goal, and that long-term enduring partnership that is required for success in this industry.
So quick adjustments. That's kind of your answer. It's just being on top of it, eyes always on what's happening. That's one of the keys to success.
Speed to market is so important in the automotive industry, especially just to peel back the curtain a little bit more. It's what happens is manufacturers will give out their incentives at the beginning of the month. And so everyone gets a sheet of paper that says, here's all the discounts and incentives we're giving. Every agency has that same incentive in their hand. Well, how do you win? What's one way to do it is to get there first.
It's probably a good segue to kind of even just go back a little bit. Tell me a little bit about Bedford Advertising, and then tell me some of why you're different, because I think what you're talking about really lends into what makes you a different type of group for these tier 3 dealerships.
Yeah. Bedford Advertising was started in 1980 by Patty Bedford, who was a pioneer in her own right, a woman starting an advertising agency in automotive in 1980.
Everybody was doing that.
Right, exactly. And so she had something very special that we still do today, which is two things. Our mission is to deliver meaningful results to our clients, which in the automotive industry is leads and sales.
Walking through the door.
And during partnerships, which is long-term. What makes us truly unique is that, as Patty really believed, that an ad agency should be a true partner for an automotive dealership, not just a vendor. So the enduring partnership stuff is really important to us, which means long-term thinking. But she didn't want to sacrifice that short-term results. So we actually don't have any contracts with our clients. And that is unique because that really keeps the pressure on us to perform short-term, but understand the implications long-term, which is why we see such good results and we've been around for so long doing what we do.
So what's your favorite part about what you get to do?
Being in a role that allows me to make such an impact on revenue is what drives me. it's so important for us to make face-to-face interactions on a regular basis with our dealerships. So I'm frequently at these dealerships, shaking the hands of the sales managers, the sales team, the GMs, the office managers. And it makes me feel so great knowing that the work that myself and our team do actually helps put food on their table, help them grow in their careers, help them grow in their customer base. It helps drive revenue to that dealership. That's success to me, and I love doing that.
Sitting in the revenue accountability seat, which is what you do as the president here, what are your top priorities?
Yeah, I would say it's always challenging for a president in an advertising agency role, because I think what most presidents tend to lose sight of over time is that it's important for your clients to succeed first. And so in my role, it's the balance of client success and a fair price with the revenue goals of the agency. And I fundamentally believe that if we are doing what we need to do for our clients at a long-term view, their sales will increase and so will our bottom line. And I think that is super important to consider.
So I'm listening to you talk. I'm wondering too, just like, how do you keep yourself agile to make these pivots and to think about technology in the way that you're thinking about it? What are you taking in? What are you learning? And then how are you applying that? Because it sounds like every time you go to that particular AI that you've built on, part of your intelligence process, it sounds like you could find all sorts of new things and areas to pivot. So how do you decide I should or I shouldn't? And then what are you doing in order to stay comfortable with emerging technology?
Yeah, I think it's one thing that's really important is to understand your business process as a whole. So we understand what makes our agency tick for us. Deliverability, speed, flexibility, and adaptability is very huge. Creativity is massive, and then bottom line results. So we have our internal processes, and it's important to, I think once you have a good foundation, you don't really need to shake up your foundation. We've been doing this for 40 years. We know what makes people buy cars. We know what works. The idea is, how do we use technology to enhance these things to perform even better for our clients? And so when you're talking about pivoting, it's just reflecting on how the technology will improve, not slow down or not add to an already really solid process. So these concepts that we've been talking about, the 4 pillars, using with artificial intelligence, these aren't new concepts. This isn't a new thing, right? These are things that we've been doing for a long time, but now we can do them in a third of the time, and we can reiterate them more frequently. Like, I can iterate these once a week if I wanted to.
Well, I feel I'd be remiss with the state of our economy and the way that things are going right now if we didn't talk about that word tariff and what you're seeing in the world of automotive dealers. Like, what are you seeing in the world of tariffs, and how is it affecting you? What are you thinking about from a tariff perspective?
Yeah, it is a huge factor in our day-to-day. I mean, we're always getting updates on it. It does play a major role in our core client base, which is automotive. We do a lot of B2C as well, like e-commerce, and they are definitely affected by it. All of our clients are. In the automotive world, every automotive manufacturer, I believe the only one is Tesla, that's 100% US built, is affected by these tariffs. Some portion of their build out is done overseas in some capacity. So it's already begun to affect prices. We're starting to now see, just month over month, a $2,000 to $3,000 average price increase on MSRPs on vehicles. Anything that's being newly built is already going to see those effects put in. So the challenge is going to become, how do we, as advertisers, position your brand, especially as a local dealership? How do we position your dealership as one that's going to sell you this vehicle that 2 months ago was $3,000 or $4,000 less? And so that becomes a really big challenge for us, and one that we are excited to take on. And because we think that long-term view, we understand there was more than just a price that was affecting this purchase, right? We understand there's a message that the dealership was sending. The community involvement that we've emphasized for so long is now we're starting to cash in. I've used this term a lot in the past month or so. And it sounds crazy coming from an advertising head.
This is going to be good.
Because a lot of our clients are seeing their sales drop. So they obviously have to make adjustments, right? Overall sales are dropping. So they're making adjustments on advertising. Well, we know that's coming. My job isn't to be like, hey, let's defend our advertising spend. It's to do what's best for the client. So with this comes advertising cuts. And I've used this a ton. And I said, let's cash in our equity that we built out. And what that means is if you're working with us, you have a holistic strategy built up. You have a really good organic and direct traffic base and a good customer foundation. Let's emphasize our first party data a little bit more. Let's stop prospecting and spending the money out there. Let's just go to our core audience and rekindle that relationship and make sure we're maximizing what we're doing there.
And we have to not be afraid to try and to do some of that.
You're absolutely right.
I think it's profound though, your comment about we don't need to shake the foundations, because I think when people see this is one of the things that they try to do is that we just try to shake the foundation, and we don't have to. That's a very profound statement. You mentioned that when you're talking with your team, one of the things that you say is no ad dollars wasted. Man, everybody who's listening to this right now is like, yes, no ad dollars wasted. Okay, so how do you do that? I'm kind of trying to set you up here because I think you have some very definitive ideas on how people, specifically in your industry, can avoid wasting dollars. What's your answer on that?
Yeah, I think one thing is, once it's kind of a challenge. What we say, it's like our purse, it's our passion. It is the throwdown that we give to everybody. Anytime something is not perfect, and perfect is different. Perfect, I'm being extreme here, but something is, you can tell something's not right. You hear it in the agency is like, hey, no wasted ad spend. We got to make sure this is absolutely 100% right. And so it is kind of a gauntlet to the agency. But on the other end, any kind of recommendation or a new product that we add in or something we add into our tech stack, there's always a purpose to it. And it's important, really important for us as an agency to ensure that. So when we say no wasted ad spend, we're not saying that every dollar is going right to your bottom line and increasing sales. What we're saying is that everything we do has a very specific purpose to a larger goal.
Talk to me a little bit about why maybe the competitors that you go up against, why are those dealerships that are working with them, why are their ad dollars not working for them?
I'll say one big thing is we're up against very large publicly traded corporations usually, or very large agencies who have deals with tier one manufacturers. So these are the OEMs, the Fords, the Stellantis, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Toyota. They have certain deals and they are preferred vendors. With those deals, they almost have a monopoly on the section. And with those deals also requires them to do certain things a certain way. So if I'm a preferred dealer with Ford, I can only structure my campaigns and my creative a certain way, or I don't get credit for that. And in dealership advertising, there's what's called co-op funds. The manufacturer gives them and says, you can spend this much on certain things and you'll get money back from the manufacturer for them. What we tend to see with these big players in the space who are approved vendors, they charge a much higher margin. They'll charge double or triple sometimes what we would charge for the same service because they worked hard to be an approved vendor and it's costs a lot of money for them to do that. And so yes, they'll charge a higher amount. So walking in without us even doing anything different, we would charge a fraction of what they would charge. You should see improved results. If we do what's right for the client, in turn, I firmly believe they'll do what's right for us. And so that's really comes down.
I appreciate you sharing all these insights. I think that even though we're talking about it from a dealer perspective and automotive space, and that may not be everybody who's listening or watching, that the things that you're talking about just are things that can be applied. We need to be thinking about them from that creative perspective and doing that. So I really appreciate you sharing all those insights.
Yeah.
And I'm going to provide all of your links to your LinkedIn channels and everything. We'll make sure that all of that's available for anybody who's listening and doing that. So what's one thing you make sure to do every day as a leader?
That's a tough one. I do this every single day, and it's not my favorite answer, but I'm going to say I look at the numbers. We have a holistic view of all of our clients, conditional formatted on this beautiful, nice template. Red is bad, green is good, and I love doing that and seeing our successes, but seeing our opportunities for improvements too. So I do that every single day.
Know where to put your focus.
Yes, exactly.
What's a trend you're tired of hearing about?
Blank is dead. That is the trend that so-and-so is dead. SEO is dead. SEM is dead. TikTok is dead. Facebook is dead. All these is dead trends. They're just used to get you clicks and get your attention. That really it kind of bugs me. It's all about strategy, not about channel, in my opinion.
We do not have to disrupt this foundation.
Right.
All right. An area you're going to be focused most on next.
we spoke about the tariff thing. I think that's it's a constant focus for us, but it's always top of mind for me. It's how do we do more with less? And I think that is so important, not only for our client side, but for the agency side. It's like, how do we do more with less? Because when things get tough, we need to be able to adapt and be flexible. And then when things are great, we need to be able to reap the benefits of doing more with less anyway. So,
all right, this is one of my very favorite questions. So what's a book, a podcast, a resource, something you swear by?
I'll say this to anybody who's looking to start a business, any young entrepreneur, anyone who is, you just really wanting to get some more momentum with their current business or trying to figure a way to be more strategic and to execute, is the EOS system. I love it. And the book Traction is the one that launches that EOS mindset for you. My book copy is sitting next to my desk. I go through it 3 or 4 times a day. It is ripped up. I've had it by the pool. It's got like salt. I've had it in the ocean. It's got like salt water on it. It's
well loved.
It's well loved for sure. I highly recommend it. It's a great book.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Today's guest made a clear call. Creative and creativity isn't optional. It's the difference between being seen and being ignored, especially in a category as competitive as automotive advertising. But then again, whose industry or service isn't competitive, right? That brought to mind a recent piece from The Drum titled, "Creativity is Non-Negotiable." It opens with the truth that we often forget. It says marketing's first job is to grab attention. Yes, even in B2B, especially in B2B. Why? Well, because one moment of attention can lead to a multi-million-dollar deal. And then how do we earn that moment? Through creativity, storytelling, humor, emotion. And if you've been watching TV at all recently, you're probably seeing it a lot. Singing llamas, rock stars, anyone? Research says that 90% of final B2B decisions are influenced on day one. If you don't catch attention early, you're already too late. So the takeaway is clear. Get creative with intentional, inspired work that earns attention and drives action. All right, a link to this article is posted in the show notes. We'd also invite you to follow us on social media. You can search Rogue Marketing on Facebook and X or Rogue Marketing Agency on LinkedIn. We're regularly sharing insights and articles that you may have missed, while you were working. See you next time.